Should be live here soon. Okay, we're live. Awesome. We're getting together today to kind of go over Sandbox code, and then Brian's going to kind of talk to us about Java collections and show us some of his code, and then just finalize kind of our schedule on with Kanban. I read up on it finally, and we can kind of talk about how that's going to work with our Trello posts and just how we want to continue the rest of the semester. So, Brian, do you want to start off, or do we want to go through what Sandbox code is first?
Let's start go through Sandbox first. Yeah.
Okay, good idea. Let me pull up first what he defines as Sandbox code. Take me a second here to pull up my iLearn. All right. Oh, that's not it. Okay. Let me share my screen with you, and we'll do a live example, but this is what he has. Can you see this okay? I know it's kind of small. I can zoom in.
Yeah, it's small.
If you can zoom.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess you could take a second to read this if you'd like, and then we could talk about what we kind of got from it. Have you finished reading this?
Almost.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know when you're done, Vicky.
Okay, give me a second.
Okay, no problem.
I'm ready.
Okay, so I guess Vicky, from this doesn't describe it super well, but from this description here, what is Sandbox code from what you've understood?
Sandbox, it is an example of like really kind of, it's not a famous method, but the method what is using the most. So like we need to share an example of that method, what is representing the topic what we have studied.
Okay. Yeah.
Understand it.
Yeah. And there are, I guess, each subject, so Java collections, a tree may have different sandbox code than the map will. And each different code topic, the sandbox code should be put specific to that subject. Pretty much sandbox code is using the everyday methods. For instance, .add on a, I think it's on a tree or a map. I can't remember honestly. But so you have your array .add adds an element or something into the array. So a good sandbox example for that could be, okay, demonstrate it working. So I'm going to add a string, but how does it not work? What can make it break? If I add nothing, will that break it? If I add another array, or if I add an empty array or an empty object or a 0 or a 1 or whatever, you know what I mean? So you got to try to find ways to break it that could happen in everyday life. Am I accurate, Brian? Do you have anything else you want to add before we show her some code?
Yeah, so just so Sandbox, it's just for you to play with your code,
Yeah.
like breaking it and making it work, not just put any code that you think is gonna do something, but it's not doing anything. You had to make sure that it's doing something.
So here is an example. There are two, how to say it, two different types of sandbox code, or so a happy path, which is
What is happy path and nasty path?
happy path is code that works.
Mm-hmm.
A nasty path is an example of something that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, I mean, you read the above little introduction, so you need to make sure that all of this is in try catches, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
so that it'll still run. The teacher doesn't want you to have to comment and uncomment code to get it to run. So try catches are your best friend in sandbox code.
Mm-hmm.
Let me move down to the next one here. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course.
Okay. So, for instance, this happy path, meaning this code works. Sandbox buffer is the sandbox object they wrote. Dot append, where is that one? Sorry. Okay, so that's the string they created here,
Mm-hmm.
the sandbox buffer. So they're going to append, meaning they're going to add this to the end of, they're going to add what? To the end of the sentence here. So when it prints, it's going to say trying this what? The console. A nasty path would be, okay, I'm appending, but nothing was in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it writes, it didn't add anything to the end. So it's a nasty path, something that it works, but it's like an error. It could be a common error in our code.
So as I understand, when we are creating the sandbox, we need two examples. The happy path, what is working. Example, it's nasty path, that it like kind of doesn't work or like have common error. Am I right?
Yes, most of the time you have one happy path and then multiple nasty paths. There are three nasty paths here for this specific happy path.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
So you want to demonstrate multiple ways how this happy path can also break or how it can be misused as well.
Mhm.
Brian, did you have anything to add?
Nope.
Okay. And you'll get a better idea of it. The way it typically works is you do your best to find or to use the most common methods on, for instance, Brian's going to show us Java collections here soon, or at least a couple things on it. You do your best to find all the common methods. Sandbox code doesn't have to be super long. I mean, he just wants to know that you know the basics, especially when we're getting just to disagree. Our sandbox code doesn't have to entail everything. However, at least all the basic stuff. Chances are Brother Larson's probably going to send an email saying, hey, I want you to do this and this. Show me this method.
If you think that we doesn't understand,
Not that we don't understand. For instance, trying to think of, let's say you did Java collections and you know the .add method to add something into the array, but how do you take something out of the array? If you didn't include that in your sandbox code, he may be like, okay, I know you know how to add into an array, how to iterate through an array. How do you remove something from an array? Show me sandbox code to remove something from an array. So he may say, okay, add that and then resubmit your sandbox code to me and I'll approve you for disagree.
makes sense.
Okay, let me, I have some live sandbox code that I wrote real quick. Hold on. Brian, do you want to show your Java collections or do you want to go through some more sandbox code, Vicky?
So you want?
Okay. Vicky, do you feel it would be beneficial to see more sandbox code or do you have a decent grasp on it?
I just want to see an example from Brian.
Okay.
Okay.
If he's ready, it will be great.
Yeah. So how do you share your screen?
On the top left, you have that screen with the arrow on it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and click on that, and then you can select your screen or a specific window you want to share.
A green sign. Do you see on the left side?
Yeah, let's see.
So signs, like first it's chat and second is a screen share and you need to click on it.
Let's do this. Yeah, I found it. Do you see that?
Yep.
Not yet. Yes, I see.
So here, this is for the array list. So an array list is like an array. So it can be sorted if you need to. So first here I have an array that I created, and I call that color array list because it contains strings. So here in this line I added a string that says brown. So I have 4 of them, 4 strings. So to make sure that it works and has those strings in that array, so I just printed out here with a print lane so that I could see all the strings that I added to this array list. So then I created another one called animal array list and added 4 different animals. Same thing with this type of string. So here you have your first try and catch, like your first like code that actually works. So here it says I'm printing an this value or string white from this array list, or it's just look for that if it's contained this string in that array list, and if it's there, it will print it. If it's not, it won't do that. But in this case, since white is in this color array list, because I'm calling that from this color array list, it will print it, or it will say true because it's there. If it wasn't there, it would return false. So here in this next try and catch, so I'm trying to see if this array list is empty. So you use this method or whatever it's called, and it will return false, of course, because it's not empty. So the next one, I do all the things in a print line so that I can see all the results, because if I don't do that, I'm not seeing anything in the screen. So I go in the get method to get me, it's saying get me the third string or the third how do you call that, the third item from this array list, and it's going to return me the white one. Because you start by 0, I think. I'm not sure if that was supposed to return black or white, but one of the yes. So it returns the white instead. So this one I'm doing a loop. It's when I loop through this array and print each element in the array. So this is a for loop that I have here. So I'm sure you remember how to do this. So it's going, yeah. So it's going to print each one.
That's a for each loop, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So for this one, so it's add all values from the animal array list to the color array list. So it's going to combine those and put them in just one of those. So in this case, I'm adding everything, that's the add all method, from the animal array list to the color array list. So here I'm printing out whatever it's in the color array list. So everything that was from the animal array list was copied into the color array list, and it's now a bigger array because it contains more things that it had before. So now the nasty pads to break the code. So I try to add to this array list, the color array list, a null. And what happens when you want to add a null? So it actually adds a null value. It says null, and then when you print it at all the values from that array, it will display the null. I will show that when I'm done with this code. Yeah. So this next one, you want to get something that doesn't exist. So in this case, I don't have a 9. I don't have this. How do you call it? I forgot.
Item.
Yeah, that. I just have 4 things. So there's not more than 4 things. So since we don't have more than 4, it will display like this error or exception error that says index out of bounds exception, because it exceeds the number of items that I have in that array list. So this one, what happens when you want to remove a null from that array list? If there's a null in the array list, it will remove it. So in this case, it will remove it because I added a null value here before. So now it will remove that null that I added before. So then what happens if you want to remove an index but with a negative number? It will look weird, but it's returns this error, array index out of bounds exception, because there's not negative numbers either. So in this one, this other method removal, so you want to remove all the nulls that I added to this array list, if there are any. But since there are no more, so it would return a null pointer exception because there are no nulls. I think that's what it really does. I'm not sure about this one. So what happens when you want to add all the nulls or all the values nulls to this array list or any array list? So it also returns a null pointer exception, because I don't think you can have everything null. I think that's what it's doing, but let's see what happens when you run this code. Let's see. Let's see. So here, you see the first one. So I added all these strings or with color names for this array, and it's printed out here everything that I added to this array. And in this first try and catch for the contains method, if it contains the white string, it returns true because that's true. And same thing with if it's empty, it returns false because it is not empty. So same thing, it's getting me the third item or fourth value. It will return white because that's the last value that I have there. So this is the array, the for loop. So it is printing each value right there. So this one, the add all method. So this is adding all the animals to the color array list. So this is all now combined. So you see this first four values were already there. So these last four values were added or copied from the other array list into this one. So now it contains all these values. So the add null. So I have here the add null value. It added a null at the end. For the next one, to get 9, well, it returns, no, that's something else. So these are all the exception lists or the exception errors that were returned because of the other ones. But here's the result from the remove the null value. So you see here is the null value, and here it's not there anymore because I removed it. So you have any questions?
No, everything's so clear.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Thank you for the good example.
Yeah.
Really good example.
So now I have the hash map here. So here, you know what a hash map is? It's almost the same thing. But in this case, you have a
Key and value.
key and value for each. So here I created the same thing, but using a hash map. So I added 4 different keys and values. So here, for the hash map, you have different methods. I use the put method. So I'm putting a new value, a key and a value at the end of the animal hash map. So it will add it at the end of the this hash map. So here another example, I'm using the get method. It's doing the same thing like the array list is getting me the third. Now this time it's not doing the fourth value. This is actually doing the third key and value. That's a little bit confusing, but you will see that later when I show you the code. So here, the remove method, I have a 5 there. Let's see. Yes, it will remove. Where am I? It will remove the last value that I added, because when I added a new value, since I had 4 values before, and when I added the elfan here, I had now 5 values, so it will remove the last value that I added there. And same thing, the isEmpty method, it will check if it's empty or if it's not, so it will return true or false. So in this time it will return false because it is not empty. So here there's another method that says contains key. In this case I put the 4. It will look for a value for a key with this number 4. So we'll return true because there's a key 4 that I added over there. This is the last value. So here another method is contains value cat. So here it's gonna look for this string in that array and return true or false. So here the replace method is gonna you put first the key and value that you want to replace. So you put a comma there and whatever you want to use to replace. So we replace that with tiger. So this other method is put all. So it's doing like the same thing that I did in the Rails. It's gonna put everything or copy all the values from the core hash map into the animal hash map. So it's gonna combine both of them and put all the values together in the animal hash map. So you will see all the values now in that. So for the nasty paths, so what happens when you put no and a no? So a no key with a no value. So we'll actually do it. So you will see a no key and a no value. So here, for example, you want to do it, in this case, put a new value, put a new key with a no value. You will also do the same thing. You will put this new key 6 with a no value. So here, when you put a no with a string that is not empty, you will also do the same thing. You will add it, like nothing happens. Like there's not an error. It won't see anything wrong with that. So what happens when you want to remove no, a no key with a no value? So we'll do it unless you have it, but since I don't have a no, it will not do anything because there's not a no key associated with a no value. I just have a no value with a key or a key with a no value, but not a no and a no. So here you have a remove. So what happens when you want to remove an empty string that is not associated with a key? So not do anything unless you have a key associated with an empty string. So what happens when you put remove and you put a negative number for your key? So same thing, it will not do anything because that's not possible. And here finally I put all. And what happens when you put a null there? It doesn't do anything, but it returns a null pointer exception. So let's run this code. Let's see how you make this bigger. Let's run this again.
I see.
So yeah, so here everything that I explained to you, it's shown here. And this one, so I put everything explained here so you can see what is doing each thing, so that I don't have to explain that again. So you have any questions?
No.
So the tree map, it's almost the same thing for everything. You have a tree map here, and you put whatever values you want. So for the first method that I use is the first key. It's gonna get me the first key from this tree map. So it's gonna do that and display it if you want to, or whatever you want to do. Or use this method called first entry. It's gonna give you the same thing with the first key. So this one, so it's the get method. It's gonna get me the second value. So this contains value. Same thing if it contains this string. So if it's there, it will say true. If it's not there, it will say return false. So the same thing if this array, if this tree map contains a 3 key, it will return true or false. So here you can also do a replace method. So you can replace the second value. In this case, I had in the second key I had red, and now I'm changing it to brown instead. So for the nasty pads, what happens if you want to put or add a new key with a null value, you will do it also. It will add a new key with this null value. And what happens when you put a null key with a value that is, it's okay, there's nothing wrong with it. It will not do that this time. It will return a null pointer exception. And here what happens when you want to put a get method and a number that is not there, it's out of bounds because it's not that big. So it returns null. So here what happens when you want to put a new key with a value that already exists, it will not do it because it cannot have any duplicates. Sorry about that sound. So what happens, you want to replace null and a null. It doesn't do anything either. It returns a null pointer exception. And what happens when you want to put O and you put a null there? It also doesn't do anything. It also returns a null pointer exception. And here finally, I also use the remove and a negative number. And at 12, it doesn't exist either because it's too big. So we change null for both because it cannot do any of that. It's out of bounds. So let's run it. I don't know why it happens, because when you run it first, it will
was
return
good.
a lot of errors because you already have those created, and you have to like refresh it to get rid of those. So here, everything that I explained
In
to
the
you
middle.
in the middle. Do you have any questions?
No, makes sense. Good examples.
Vicky?
Good examples. I like it.
Okay, so the last one, the tree set. Let's see. Gets a little bit boring because it's always the same thing. You have the same
No, it's
methods.
okay. Don't
So
worry.
I just did the same thing because I didn't want to do anything else. So just change whatever I had to change. So pretty much the methods. So for the first one, you have a contains also. So it's gonna look if there's a real, not array, this tree map contains this string, so it will return true because it does. So here, this is a different method called last. It's gonna get you the last key and the last value from this tree set. So it's gonna return yellow because that's the last value. So this other method called bold first, it gets you the first value from this tree set, which is in this case the blue. So this also checks if it's empty or returns false because it's not empty. So the same thing, it's gonna check if it contains this string called black. It returns false because there's not a black string there. So the nasty paths. So here I added this value because that already exists. It will not do it again because it cannot have duplicates either, like the tree map. So it won't add it unless it doesn't exist. So what happens when you want to remove something that doesn't exist? In this case, the gray, it returns false because it doesn't really exist. So you cannot remove something that it doesn't exist. So the add-on, same thing. You want to add everything from this array, no, this tree set to this tree set, and combine both values. It does it. It doesn't give you any errors. So you could see when you don't want to combine something from a different type, if you want to have like a number, and maybe you have I don't know, whatever, maybe a Java bean, but you don't want to combine them, that wouldn't be a good thing to do unless you combine like maybe a number with another number, then you maybe want to combine them. So what happens when you want to remove everything? So this is removing everything from the color array list values that I copied into this tree set. So why is that name array list? Probably didn't change it, but it's removing everything that I added here, or all the values that were copied from this array list. That should be a tree set, but I guess it doesn't matter. So it's going to remove just these values from this tree set, and you will all you will just see the values from this tree set, but not from this array list. So they're not combined anymore. So what happens when you want to add an empty string to a tree set. So it will add an empty string to the beginning of this tree set. Or what happens when you want to remove an empty string. So in this case, it will remove it because I added this empty string to the beginning. It will remove it. So what happens when you add a null to a tree set? So in this case, you can't do that. So we'll return a null pointer exception. Same here. You want to remove null, add a null, add or remove a null. It will return both for null pointer exceptions. I won't do that. Same here. To the add-on, it returns the same thing. Null pointer exception or removal returns the same thing. So let's run this. Let's run this again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's at the end, everything. So,
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
No.
No, it makes sense.
Let's see.
Can you post your code to a GitHub?
Yeah, how do you post that when it's a full, how do you call it, a branch? Because I haven't done that to a branch.
Don't worry, I will post it right now because I have created already a GitHub. So I will paste the link.
There, at least last time I checked, let me look here. There's a book, but there's also a good tutorial on how to do things with Git. Let me post it in our chat.
So I paste the link, and there we have 3 folders.
Yeah, I see those 3 folders, but when I...
Do you mean how to create a document?
I mean, how do you upload the files from your computer? And like when you add files there, you have a link to that specific place where you want to upload it.
Usually I'm copy and paste, but I don't know how Greg does that.
Because sometimes you have like a place where it
Greg.
says copy link.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
Okay, so go to click on the clone or download.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're going to want to, that's your red team. So go ahead and clone or download that, clone
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Put your files in there, drag and drop them, or create your projects in there, and then just commit to your specific one or commit to all of them. It doesn't really matter. It'll only commit your changes anyways. And that way, any code that we post here, you can have access to as well.
Yeah, so, but how would I do that just to my folder and not do it like outside of my folder?
Just don't change anything with your folder. Because Git will only commit changes you make, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't make any changes to Greg or Victoria folder, then it'll only post the changes to your Brian folder.
Yeah.
I guess if we want to make this to where each one of us has a branch, but that means we all need to know how to work Git pretty well.
No.
Because you don't want to merge your branches if you want to use them separately. So.
Yeah, because when I did it before, I don't remember how I did it.
It's okay.
So do you know how to pull? Like, do you know how to clone it?
Yeah, I know how to do that, but I forgot how to upload it. So when I do that, it won't be outside of my folder.
So when you clone, it'll have those 3 folders in there,
Yeah.
right? So when you move your work over into Brian, then just go in and type get commit -m and then print the quotes, put Brian Sandbox code. And then you push it.
So you're saying just clone it to my computer and put everything to that folder in my computer and then upload it from there?
Yep. So if you want, I can do the same thing as you, and we can do it together right here if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Yep. You just need to share your screen with us.
Yep. All right. 1 second. Let me pull up my stuff here.
Don't worry. And I have a question.
Yeah.
So I will ask, when read the Kanban method, like I saw the board with like, how to say, give me a second. It's in progress, to do, in progress, and done. So our done column is the disagree.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So once we finish, we'll have to submit a request for evaluation to Brother Larson. And then once he responds, we'll move those individual subjects over to where we have them. And maybe what we can do is, for instance, so let's say we move Java collections over to disagree, because we're all in strongly disagree. However, we can add colors. So for instance,
what? Why did it move?
I just moved it. Sorry, I'll move it back.
Okay.
So for instance, blue. Let's see, we'll do Brian. I think you're blue, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Greg, I think I'm green. All right. So for example, we can write our names and make our own labels. Okay.
Wow.
And let's say it's in disagree, but we can just tag ourselves in there when we have it in disagree. Does it make sense? So once the code's been addressed by all 3 of us, like Java collections, once we show our sandbox code, Vicky and I will show it on Wednesday. Then we can move Java collections to disagree, and that because that's where it should be. And then we can add ourselves to this. So Vicky, once, let's say you get approved by Brother Larson, well, hold on a second. And then that way we can see, okay, we all 3 have that one at disagree. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Do we want to do something like that, or how do we want to keep
it? Like, I like that idea, the idea that each of us, we have our colors, so it's much easier, like, to see if I'm in the progress or I'm in the like disagree column.
Okay. So
does it make sense?
Yeah. So for example, right now, Java collections as of Wednesday, right? We can move Java collections here, and then we can keep track ourselves of, okay, who, we'll leave Brian on there because he's the one that so far has it.
Yeah.
So far, Brian's the only one that's done a sandbox code, so he can submit to Brother Larson to get evaluated. And then once we do our sandbox code and we submit to Brother Larson, then we'll add ourselves to say, okay, that we are all 3 at disagree in this particular area. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's clear.
All right, where am I'm going to take us off of this real quick. All right. 1 second. I'm going to do. All right. Okay, so back to Git. So where's my Git bash? Okay. Oh. Okay. So for instance, I'm going to copy this link from here. So clone or download.
Yeah.
Okay. I have my command line. I'm going to do git init. It's going to initialize my repository there.
Mm-hmm.
And then just git clone. Paste. Come on. Hold on. Go. So now I'm cloning into it. I'm copying everything.
Mm-hmm.
So now if I go to my documents, I have my CIT360. Here's the folder. Here's all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to put a file in here, just open up another documents folder. And I'm going to just drag and drop some code that I wrote to test. All right. So I have that in my personal folder. So now if I do git status, it'll show me, okay, I have a change here in the CIT360 and what I just cloned. So right now I'm going to go into it. And then if I do git status when I'm in there, it'll tell me, okay, I have a specific instance. I know what's changed right here. I added a main.java file to the Greg folder.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to go git commit. Actually, I got to do git add because you got to, all the files that you have here, you need to add them to, we'll say, you need to add them to a commit. Does that make sense? You need to add them to what you want to push to GitHub.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to add everything. But now if I do git status, it's no longer red because that file is now ready to be pushed to GitHub.
Yeah.
So git commit.
And if we will, if we will, I forget the word, reload our folder in GitHub, we'll see that we have it in a folder.
Yes, not yet
We'll
though.
check.
Right now, this is local. This is on my computer right now.
Yeah. But if we'll push the changes and we'll check the GitHub, we'll see that the folders, like the particular folder, have changes.
Yes. So I just committed it. Now I'm going to go git push origin. I'll be able to access it. Okay, you need to, Vicky, you need to add us to the GitHub repository.
Mm-hmm.
Because we aren't added to it, so we can't push to it.
Okay. If I will have questions how to do that, you will help me. Okay?
Okay.
Or just
Hold on, let's see
do
here.
it right now. I didn't have your emails. So give me a second. You have a link.
One second. I'm trying to look at how to do this as well. So let me. Okay. So if you go to settings, Vicky.
Yes, give me a second. Yes.
So if you go to your repository and you click right here on the the little menu here, there's, on the far right there's settings.
Give me a second. Repository. And the repository.
Yeah, so you need to make sure you're on your repository. So these are all my, where is it? These are all my repositories.
And then?
Okay, so you click on your repository. And up here you see settings.
Yes, I see. I clicked.
And then collaborators.
Okay.
And then you'll need to add us by username or email address. My username for GitHub is this. I put in the chat.
Okay, give me a second.
Brian, if you can add yours to the chat too.
Please, yes.
Yeah, let's see.
Give me a second. I need to confirm my password. And then Ryan by link. Greg, I added you.
All right, let me take a look.
Brian, I need your email or your because I cannot add you by the link.
Okay.
I need your username or your full name. Oh, I found
That's
you.
my username. Okay.
I found you. Yeah, I added both of you. You can check the GitHub.
I currently don't see anything. Collaborators, let's see.
Give me a second. I will copy and paste the link of the invitation link. Do you see the link? The invitation link.
Yep, let's see. Accept invitation.
Yeah.
All right, now if I push, yep, there we go. So I just pushed, my code now is here.
Yeah, I see the test.
I have an error here when I try to push.
What's your error?
I'll show you.
Share your screen with us so we can help you.
Oh, okay. So because I pushed,
Mm-hmm.
your local repository and the one on GitHub do not match.
Okay.
So you need to pull first. So do git pull
Yeah.
origin master. Okay, whoops, I forgot. I think it's, yep, there we go. Thank you. Okay, see, so you see there that you have downloaded my file, main.java. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so now go to your code and make sure that your code is still there, actually. The problem with this sometimes is you can override files.
Yeah. Do it
Okay,
there.
all right, cool. So have you moved any of those files
Not yet.
to the GitHub repository on your computer?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess try git push now. Origin master. All right,
Okay.
there you
Let's.
go. Now let's check it out online. I see collections and I see your code. Perfect.
Thank you.
So as long as you only upload to your folder, we should not have any problems with overwriting files.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll be downloading all of our code for Vicky and I as well. But as long as no one changes using the documents, you're okay. But if you change the code and upload it, then that's going to override whatever's on GitHub. So,
Yeah.
cool. I'm glad we got that worked out. All right. I guess the last thing we have to talk about is
homework.
Yeah, homework. I guess the Kanban, real quick. So I read up on Kanban, and everything we've talked about with Trello is exactly the Kanban principle. So I think we're on task when it comes to that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
Ryan, sorry.
What?
I thought that you said something.
No.
Sorry.
Okay. Today we address Java collections. Vicky and I will get Java collections sandbox code for Wednesday, and we'll show that to Brian. And then Vicky as well. You will present on threads, executors, and runnables on Wednesday. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then again on Friday, Brian and I will present code on threads, executors, and runnables, and then I'll present on application control pattern.
Okay.
All right. Anything anyone else wants to add?
So
I don't think so.
would be a good thing since we have to like. Hi. So to move it to disagree with brother Larson, so it would be a good idea to try each one of us to claim fluency maybe on Friday because it's every other week, not every week.
That's right, to submit, right? We can't do that on a weekly basis.
Yeah. So maybe next week we claim fluency from this week's work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Real quick, I'm just gonna write down.
The notes.
Yep. So I added a link to the notes on our Trello. On the very top one is group notes. And then there's just a link in there you can click on to take you to the Google Drive.
Okay.
So let's see. We have
Sandbox.
Vicky and Java collections. And let's see. Anything else?
I don't think so.
No.
And when will we submit our topics to Brother Larson? Because I'm not sure that we can do it on Friday, because Friday it's for me.
Yeah, so maybe next week, maybe Monday or Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for me.
Okay, let's all. How about we all read up on the process for submitting?
Yeah.
Do it on Monday.
So let's all read up on the evaluation process, and then we could talk about it on Friday, and then schedule that for next week sometime.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Thank
good.
you guys very much. Anything else to add?
No.
No.
We just need to have our other members of our community.
Adam Halverson. He's the only other one that's active. I'm guessing the other guy probably dropped the class by now. He says he's moving over the next 2 weeks, but I gave him our schedule. Said we meet Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. We always post a link on Google Plus, so we'll see if he joins us.
Okay.
I hope.
Yeah.
So see you on Wednesday.
All right. Friday.
Have a great day. Wednesday.
Wait, Wednesday. What day is it today? Today's Monday. Okay.
Today's Monday. Yeah.
Monday.
Sorry, I'm still waking up.
It's okay. Don't worry about that.
Thank you guys. Have a good day.
You too.